Now we are going to start C functions. What are the functions and why we need these functions? A function is a set of statements that take inputs and do some specific computation and produce output. Means function is a block of code that perform a specific task. We need to create a program. If we need to create a program to create a circle or color it, then we can use two functions to solve this problem. Create a circle function and create a color function. Means what is the need of function? Function is a set of statements that take inputs, do some specific computations and produce the output. The idea is to put some commonly or repeatedly done tasks together and make a function so that instead of writing again and again, instead of writing same code again and again for different inputs, we can call the function that we have already created. Okay. Next is, why do we need functions? Functions, first point is, functions help us in reducing the code redundancy. What is this redundancy? Redundancy means repetition of same thing. If we have already completed a task or we have set some instructions to do a specific task, then we can call these instructions, this set of instruction is called function. We can call function again and again. If the functionality is performed at multiple places in software, rather than writing the same code again and again, we can call the function, we can create a function and call it everywhere. This also helps in maintenance. If we have to change at one place and we make future changes to the functionality. Now, function may code modular. Consider a big file having a line of codes, many line of codes. It becomes really simple to read and use the code if code is divided into functions. Means there is a complex problem and we are dividing the complex problem into subprograms, subprogram 1, subprogram 2, and then we will integrate to get the main solution. Means there is a big problem, complex problem, and we are dividing this complex problem into different subparts, and these subparts are called subprogram 1, subprogram 2 and 3 and so on. And these subprograms are also known as modules or functions. And after dividing these this main problem into subprogram 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, and individually we will take care of this subprogram 1, or we will do some tasks on subprogram 1 means modules, and then after completion of the task, every set of tasks, we will integrate all the subpartitions, all subprograms, and we will integrate it to get the main solution. Means this is so this programming is called modular programming, and this process is called divide and conquer. Individual subprograms are function or modules. Okay, function provides abstraction. For example, we can use library function without worrying about internal working. Okay, now what are the types of function? There are two types of functions in C programming: predefined functions or standard library functions, and user defined functions. What are the standard library functions? Which are inbuilt in C, which are inbuilt functions in C programming, which are in included by the compiler in different header files. If these functions are defined in the header file, for example, printf is a standard library function to send the formatted output to the screen or to display the output on the screen. This function is defined in the studio.h header file. Hence, to use the printf function, we need to include stdio header file using include stdio.h. Like sqrt functions to calculate the square root of a number, the function is defined in the math.h header file. Square, sqrt function, cos function, tan function, that are included in the math.h, which is inbuilt function. Printf and scanf, which is included in stdio.h. Okay, now what are the user defined functions? User defined functions means which is written by the user. User defined means which is written by the user. We can also create function as our need. So function which are created by the user are called user defined functions. For how it is work, include stdio.h void function name. This is the declaration part. This is the declaration part, function definition. Next, int main and function name. Inside the main block, we are writing this function name, means we are calling this function which we have already declared. This is the calling part. Okay. Now execution of C program begins from main function when the compiler encounters that there is a function name. When compiler starts working from main block, and after reading so many instructions, when it reaches to the this function name, it reaches to the function name, then what what strikes in compiler's mind? Oh, there is any function which is already declared or not? What is this? Then it will go to the this declaration part. Okay, it is already declared, means the control of the program jumps to the void function name, which is the declaration part, and the compiler start executing the code inside function name, and the control of the program jump back to the main function once code inside the function definition is executed. After the execution of this function name, again the control will return to the main, and then again it will execute the instructions. Okay, how function work in C programming means we are declaring the function name. Now, same I already talked about. We already talked about void function name. This is the declaration part, and execution, compiler starts execution from the int main block. From the main block, it starts to execute the instruction. When it reaches to the function name, okay, there it is the function name. I think this is the function. So compiler will jumps to control, compiler's control will jumps to the declaration part. Okay, it is already declared, so again it will execute the functions, again it will execute the instructions which are already in the inside block. Okay, now, what are the advantages of user-defined function? The program will easier to understand because we are declaring as per our convenience. We are creating our programs as per our convenience. To maintain and debugging is very easy. Reusable code that can be used in other programs means there is no need to write again and again same code. We can reuse it. Means reusability of code can be achieved. A large program can be divided into smaller modules, means a big project can be divided into different parts, different modules, and different module is allocated or assigned to different programmers, and different programmer will work on their individual part, and after completion of their individual execution, they will merge into single unit, and they will reach to the single solution of the problem of the first main problem. Okay, now see user defined function. A function is a block of code that performs specific tasks. C allow you to define function according to your needs. These are the user defined functions. How? This is the example. Means if we want to add two integers to perform this task, we have created a user defined add number function we are created. Okay, now int add number int a and b, means this is the function declaration or prototype means like blueprint we are creating, means add number is the function name, int is its return type, and int a and int b are the argument or parameter which we are passing. Okay, int main, this is the main function, and int n1 n2 comma sum means these two variables, and sum will hold all. Sum is also a variable which hold the addition of two numbers. Printf enter two numbers, scanf it will read both the numbers, and sum means add number. We are writing function call add number. This is the same name of the program, add number, and n1 comma n2. There is no restriction to use same int a and int b. We can use any name. Okay, it will when the compiler reaches to this function call, it will check, compiler will check it is already declared. Yes, it is already declared, and n1 is assigned to a and n2 is assigned to b. Okay, now add number will perform its addition function, and result will store in the sum variable. Now print sum is equals to this, return 0. This is the function definition. We are declaring, this is the declaration part, this is the calling part, and this is the definition part. In a, now, int result means int result is equals to a plus b. What we are doing? This a and b, n1 is assigned to a, n2 is assigned to b. Now, a plus b, what the value we will return after addition, it will store into result and return the result. Okay. Now, what is function prototype? It is simply a declaration of a function. Declaration of function where we are specifying function name, parameter, and return type. It does not contain function body. Same return type, function name, or argument. We are passing int a, int b, int c, and so on. Now, calling function. Control of the program is transferred to the user-defined function by calling it. Because if we are just if we are just creating our function, or we are just declaring our function and we are not calling that function, there is no use of declaration. Because for example, if we are having a marker, or we are having a laptop, or we are having a phone, without using it without using it it will not work automatically. Means what I am saying, if I am using a, if I am having a phone, mobile phone, and if there is so many functions, but if I am not using the calling option, there is a calling option, I am not using, then what is the use of this this calling function? Means this call to anybody, we can call to anybody, na? So what is the use of this call function? So a third person is used to call that function. For example, I am having a pen. Hmm, will it write automatically? No, because we have to write. Means some other person, we have to take help from another person, third party. So this is the calling function. Calling function will call the function which we have already declared in the declaration part. Then after call means after that function will start its working. Okay, now control of the program is transferred to the calling. Means the control of the program is transferred to the user defined function by calling it. Function name, argument 1, 2, and 3. Means this in previous program add number n1 minus no, n1 comma n2. Function definition contains the block of code to perform a specific task. Means inside the definition, there is a block of code to perform a specific task. In our example, adding two numbers and returning it. What is the syntax? Return type, function name, type 1 argument, type 2. Means this is the data type. Type 1, type 2 argument, data type, and body of the function. Now, how to pass the argument into a function? This is our program. Here we are already declared our function with two arguments with its return type. Means with arguments with return type. Okay, now what is this? Sum is equals to add number n1 comma n2. This is the calling function. When the control hands over to this, so went into the main, from the main to the This is the definition part. Int add number int a b. So the type of argument passed to the function and the formal parameter must match, means they should this should be match. The compiler will, otherwise compiler will throw a error. Which type of matching should be here? Means n1 is also of integer type, so the add number which argument you are passing is of the same data type. It should be the same, otherwise the compiler will throw an error. Okay, next, you are also familiar with the return statement. Next, types of user defined function in C. There means the types. What are the classification we are doing for the functions? It is not for C especially. This is these four classification are common to all the programming language. Means first, no argument and no return value, with argument and no return value, with argument with return value, and no argument but a return value. Means, okay, I'm just sharing your another screen. Yes, here. First one, no argument and no return value. Means we are not passing any argument and we are not expecting to return any means we are not expecting to return anything. Okay, so in place of no, technically we are using void. Means void fun void. What is this first void? This first void is the return type. We are not expecting any return value, so void we are using. Fun is the name of the function. I am just writing fun, and what arguments I am passing? Void, no argument, no return. Okay, in second case, with argument and no return. With argument means we are passing argument, but we are not expecting any return. Okay, means void is no return value. No, this is the syntax: return type, function name, argument list. So void fun intex with argument means intex, integer type x, integer type variable we are passing as a input, as a parameter or as a argument. In third part, with argument with return, int fun char x means with argument we are passing and we are expecting also. We are expecting some return value also. Int type we are expecting. Fun is the name of the function. Character x is the argument list or parameter we are passing. And there should, because we are expecting some return value, so it is mandatory to write return statement here. So return 3, and 3 is a type of integer type, or 13 is a type of integer type. So we are writing in the we are writing in the syntax or declaration part int type we are expecting, because return 3 or 13 means it is an integer type, so we are expecting integer type value as a return type. So I am writing int fun char. It is not compulsory that what type of value you are giving as an input or you are giving as an argument, so same value you will return as an output. For example, if we are going to bank and we want to withdraw some cash, what we are doing at the ATM, we are just input some ATM pin, and then what type of output we will get? We will get some cash. Okay, so it is not compulsory that input and output should be of same type. Okay, next fourth is no argument with return means no argument we are passing, but with our return type we are expecting. Means fun void no argument. What type of return type? Float. So if we are expecting float, because we are writing return 34.56, what value this? What is the data type of this value? Float. Float we are expecting as a return type. Okay. Now, this is the declaration part. This is the declaration of classification of declaration of different functions. Now, how to call the function? Function call is a single statement, but declaration is and after declaring, we have to write some block of lines or block of instruction or set of instruction. But how to call a function? Function call is a single statement. Okay. Now in case of first, we are writing fun void. Void fun void means no argument, no return. So in the calling function, fun without any argument. Okay. This is the calling function. Now in next part, we will argument and no return. Fun 10. What type of integer value? Means what type of argument we are passing? Int type. So we have to pass the int type, means fun 10, and this 10 will store into the x. Now x is equals to 10. Next is int fun char x. So fun g, what type of input we are passing? Character. So for character fun within quotes g, and it will store into int x because we are expecting integer type return. So int x, the output will store into the int x returning. Next is because returning 30, so returning int type, we are collecting integer data into x. We are collecting the integer data into x. Right hand side in this type of function call, right hand side executes first. Okay, in float type, what we are expecting? Float. Okay, fun, and this is argument is no arguments. Okay, fun without arguments, and it will store the data in float, means return value float x. This is the classification of user defined functions. Okay, now there are some programs, means function with no argument and no return value. For example, int may, means this program is to check whether a number entered by a user is prime or not. Then we will check with, we are passing the values like function with no argument and no return value. Okay, here int main check prime number is the function name without return value and without the argument. Okay, return 0. Return type is void, meaning does not return any value and does not passing any value also. Okay, void check prime. We are declaring some variables. Int n I flag is equals to 0. Printf enter a positive number. Scanf will read that number for I is equals to 2i smaller than n by 2 I plus plus. Means we are, what we are checking whether it is prime or not. Okay. Then these four, on the basis of these four classification, I am writing some programs. You can just run, and explanation is also given below the programs. Then you can check and execute them. Next, what is recursive? It is a very important topic in this module. What is recursive functions or what is recursion? Recursive functions are the functions which calling itself, means function calling itself is a recursive function, or calling a function from the definition of same function, means calling a function from the definition of same function is called recursive function. I am repeating, function calling itself is a recursive function, or we can say calling a function from the definition of same function is called recursive function. Okay, means if I am saying, for example, if I am saying, I'm just writing here, main, main, def, main. Again, I'm writing main function and printf and first time here I'm writing main. Okay, first time the main function is executed by the operating system. Okay, automatically when we are writing programs, the first time the main function is executed by the operating system. But second time I am writing the main function again. Second time we are calling the main function within these statements, printf start and printf end. This is the recursive call. This is the recursive call. Then how it executes? How it executes? Okay, means how it will execute like this. How recursive function working? Is it? Now, generally to execute the function in the application or inside the RAM means generally when we are executing the functions in the applications, inside the RAM a memory will be allocated. Inside the RAM, memory will be allocated. The memory is called the stack memory. The memory is called stack memory. Stack memory. Okay. Any function or any block, some amount of memory will allocated for any function or some or any block. Some amount of memory will allocated inside the stack, that is called frame. I am writing here that is called frame. This is the stack memory. This whole is the stack memory which is created for some blocks or for any functions. This is common for every language in recursive calls. In every language this is common. Okay, means when we when we start to execute the function in the application, then in the RAM some memory is to be allocated. The memory is called stack memory. This is the part of RAM, and the memory which is allocated to the functions or some blocks of program, this is the stack memory. Any function or any block, some amount of memory which is allocated inside the stack, that is called inside the stack, means this complete is the stack memory, and this stack memory is under the RAM, and inside the stack memory some frames are given. Okay, inside the stack, that is called frames. Now control is moving in forward direction. I am writing the main function, main. Okay, these are main. What we are writing in the previous one means first main, the OS, first time the OS starts executes from the main function, but in between the start and end I am also writing a main function, means recursive calls we want to do. Okay, control is moving in forward direction only. Control is, this line is showing the movement of control, okay, in forward direction, means the main 1, main 2, main 3, main 4, this type of main function. Control is moving in forward direction only once all the three statements, which one three statements, printf start, main, printf end, these three statements execution completed, then the frame will be deleted. Okay, after completion all the statements which we are already written in the program under the main, when they will execute it or they will execute completely, then the frame will be deleted and the memory will be assigned to some other execution or other method. Okay, but here what is happening? But here every time control is moving into the forward direction only. Means first time when printf start executes and it comes to the main, then one frame is created, another frame is created, and again it starts from printf start, and again when the control reaches to main, it then again another frame is created again and again. This type of framing and this type of main function execution is continue in the forward direction. But for the control, there is no chance to back. There is only the chance to move forward direction, but no chance to back and complete the execution of the previous one, because every frame is incomplete. Execution is incomplete. At after reaching main function, it jumps to the next frame and it starts executes from the first instruction. So there is no chance to back and complete the execution of previous one. So it will go like, it will give some runtime error or out of memory error, or your program will terminate abnormally. These type of errors it will show because sufficient memory is not there in the stack to continue the execution of your program. So this is the problem, because there is no limitation. Infinitely it can jump to the forward direction without completing the execution of previous frame. So while working with the recursive function or while writing the programs, we should be bit careful, because in which order, in what we have to achieve, in which order the control is going in the forward direction, the control should come back, and where it starts the execution, it should complete the execution there only, in that format only, and we should write the program. What I am saying, while working with the recursive functions, because in which direction the control is going, if control is going in the forward direction, the control should come back, and where it starts the execution, it should complete the execution there only, and that format only. Okay, now come to the program. It is a best example. This is the best example. Factorial of a given number. This is the example of factorial of a given number. I will explain this program and you are able to do all the examples which are already given in your notes. Okay. Now, what is the program? Main int n comma result. Two variables are there. Int printf enter a value. Scanner will read that value. Fact n, we are declaring a function fact factorial to calculate the factorial. Fact n, okay, n variable we are passing, and this result will be stored in the result variable. Printf this, okay. Now call the function int fact. Int is the data type of factorial, and int type of variable we are passing, or int argument we are passing. Int result. Now int result, yes. Now if, and these are our block of statements which we will execute. Okay, if n is equals to 0, result is equals to 1. If any number is the factorial of any number, and the factorial of 0 is 1. If n is equals to 0, it is checking. If n is equals to 0, then result is equals to 1. Else, otherwise means if n is not equals to 0, then what will happen? Then n into factorial, this is the formula, n into fact n minus 1, and this will store the result into result variable and return the result. Means if I am calculating the factorial of 2, then n is equals to what? N is equals to 2. And what is the factorial for 2? Means the factorial of 2 is 2 into n minus 1 means what is the value of n? N minus 1 is what, the value of n is 2 means n minus 1 is 1. 2 into 1 that is equals to 2. The factorial of means the factorial of 2 is equals to 2. Okay, 2 into 1. Okay. Now the factorial of 3 is equals to what? 3 into 2 into 1. 3 to the 6 into 1. This is the factorial. So how the recursive call will how the recursive function will call uh, itself in factorial function. Now, this is our program. This is the program. Means what are the instructions in main function? N is equals to 4. N if n is equals to 4, result is equals to factorial of 4. Result is equals to factorial of 4. Means what I am writing here, this part, int n result, okay, and result is equals to fact 4. We are going to calculate the factorial of 4. So just leave this blank 24. Okay, I am not writing initially. Okay, come to the point. Fact 4, we want to calculate factorial 4. It will call this function fact. Okay, fact n is equals to 4. What this block will try to execute. If 4 is equals to 0, means if n is equals to 0, what is the value of n? 4. 4 is equals to 0? No. Means if statement will get terminated to else and the control hand over to the else. Else, what else will do? 4 into fact n minus 1 means what is result n into fact n minus 1. What is the value of n? 4. 4 into fact n minus 1 means 3. Okay. Next, okay, we want to calculate fact 3. For this fact 3, we have to again call the function fact. Fact n is equals to 3. If 3 is equals to 0, is it true? No, the condition is false. So again the control hands over to the else. Means else n into fact n minus 1. Again n minus 1 means 2. So again we have to call fact n is equals to 2. If 2 is equals to 0, no. Again it hand over to the else. 2 into fact 1 means this formula is again calling. Okay, 2 into fact 1. N minus 1 means 2 minus 1, 1. Okay. Now again we have to calculate fact 1. So again it will call the function fact n minus 1. Again it will check the condition. If 1 is equals to 0, no. Else result is equals to 1 into fact 0. Okay. Again fact function will call fact n is equals to 0. If 0 is equals to 0, now condition is true. Means now which one condition? If condition is true. Result is equals to 1. Means what I am writing here, if n is equals to 0, result is equals to 1. Okay, else part is now wrong. Now this is the movement in forward direction only. So what is the condition in recursive call? If the control is going in the forward direction, the control should come back where it starts the execution. Okay, now check. This return 1, it already returned 1. This return 1 will come here. 1 into 1 means factorial 0 we have already calculated, and what is the result of factorial 0? Means factorial of 0 is equals to 1. So this 1 is multiplied with this. So what it will return as a result? 1. 1 into 1 is 1. Again this one will come to this. means factorial of 1 is equals to 1. 2 into 1, 2. Then it is stored into the result. And again, this 2 will come here, means what we are trying to do? Fact 2. What is the factorial of 2 which we are getting from this block? 2 only. 3 into 2, 6. Okay. Next, what is the factorial of 3 we are getting? 6. Come to back. 4 into 3 is, sorry, 4 into, no, 4 into 6 we are getting factorial of 3 is equals to 6. 6 4 4 into 6 is equals to 24. 24, and this will like print. So this is the working of recursion, how recursive call is performed. Okay, now this type of recursion is doing, I already explained all the parts, and these are some programs, okay, using functions. Please do practice more, and if you are facing any problem, you can ask me at any time. This, this is only for your practice and very, very important programs. Okay, thank you.